Leader, I was speaking to a number of young people last week about many things, but particularly about their plans for the future. Of course, travel was featured on many of their lists. It always said that the time to do it was when they were young, but I was shocked by how many of them were planning for their travel to be permanent. Emigration was a consistently common thread across so many of these people's plans. From one person, loads of my mates are over in America already. I'd probably end up there. Another said how her friend had moved to Samoa, where he now has his own house for the price of a student room in Dublin. It's no newsflash that we're losing so many of our young professionals to emigration, where every time I come face to face, there's just something so bleak about the reality that almost exclusively on account of their housing prospects, young Irish men and women see no future for themselves in their own country. It always makes me think, do we not have a duty to these people? To whom is our allegiance? Is it to the Exchequer, to multinational companies, to faceless overseas trusts generating percentage points profits for people who will never set foot in this country? Or is it to our own, the ordinary people of Ireland, who are not seeking inflated real estate portfolios or passive income investments, just a roof over their heads and the opportunity to make a life for themselves, just like we were all able to do? Ireland is a country of extraordinary wealth. We boast Europe's second largest GDP per capita, and the government spends a staggering 80 billion every year on running the place, and yet the basic need of Irish citizens is made unattainable. Perhaps the phrase Irish homes for Irish people sounds a bit alt-right for some people, if meeting the needs of your own country is now extremism. But it is working well for the Danish. Foreigners who have not been residents in Denmark for a period of 5 years or more may only purchase real estate property if they obtain permission from the Danish Ministry of Justice, which is granted on a case-by-case basis. This rule also applies to companies, associations, public or private institutions, foundations or foreign public authorities. It's very simple. In Denmark, houses are for living in, not for generating profits. If you're local, you can buy. If not, become one first, or show that you will be one in the next few years. It's not that there aren't other people in the queue for Danish houses. It's just that the Danes come first, and they're put there by their own government. I don't expect an about-turn on housing policy in this country. Perhaps this is some food for thought, and I thought we ought to examine how a Danish-style system might work here in Ireland. Yes, thank you.
Senator Keogan spoke this morning about immigration and young people, in particular the housing issue, and asked that we would look at a Danish-style housing model as potentially a solution. I would say to the Senator that we have a very ambitious housing plan in this country, a record 20 billion investment to build 300,000 homes in the next 4 years. I think it is a record level of investment in house building. I appreciate there are, of course, difficulties and challenges. Coming out of the last 2 years, there were periods where construction was closed down. We now, following the pandemic, have a war in Ukraine. We've had supply chain issues. All of these are contributing to the difficulties in housing, which I think no one individual or party or government could have foreseen that these particular instances in terms of a pandemic and a war in Europe would have happened. They are impacting, of course, on housing, but the numbers are going in the right direction.